can hear you, and thank you very much for the intro. I want to welcome everyone and thank you very much for joining us once again this Thursday evening. It's my pleasure to share this time with you and also to give you the benefit of some of the things we have learned about the products over the years. Maybe if we have got some new people or some guests, my name is Oloo. My husband Pascal and myself have been in the business for over quarter of a century now. And so in those years, we have been working hard and loving the business and being very happy to share this knowledge and these experiences with everybody who expresses an interest in our Neolife way of life. So as your invitation might have indicated, my topic today is about weight management, but I will focus mainly on weight loss because the great majority of the people we come across are interested in losing weight, more especially because it is now becoming clearer and clearer that obesity and high body weight tends to be associated with many illnesses. And for that reason, it's always a good idea to try our best to maintain a healthy weight. Of course, we shall see that there are certain things that impede our ability to do this, and we'll try to bring into the discussion, the topic, what we can do to help ourselves and those in our circle of influence to manage to keep down their weight and to maintain a healthy body weight. So as an introduction, I wanted just to say that our bodies have this ability to store extra food as fat in fatty tissues located in different parts of our bodies. So some of the fatty tissues are located under our skin and they help to keep us warm. So the fat under our skin is especially important because in cold weather, it helps to keep the body warm. There are other fatty tissues that are located around our hips and buttocks and thighs. And also we have fatty tissues that are located around our waist and the upper body. So depending on a person, the place where the body decides to deposit the largest amount of weight will differ. That is why we see that some people, when they gain weight, it mainly goes on the hip, others it goes over the belly, and others we see that it is distributed throughout the body. So of course, this is a protective mechanism that the body used in case of times of food scarcity or starvation or famine, that we are able to survive. So it is actually not an evil thing as such, but a mechanism that the body has for sustaining life during times when there is food shortage. However, the good news and maybe the not so good news is that in many parts of the world today, famines and severe food shortages have become a thing of the past. Unfortunately, here on our continent, this is not the case. There are still places where there is a severe food shortage. But in the same Africa of ours, we also have situations where there is obesity and high weight gain. So it's a mixed bag here in Africa. But just to know that we deal with things as they are. So for those who need to lose weight, we try to help. And those who have food shortages, of course, we offer them the business idea because this can help to improve their life situation. In many cases, when we go to our doctors, so they will tell us that the high weight or the high body weight is associated with illnesses like cancer, illnesses like heart disease, and also diabetes, especially diabetes type 2. But although we know we may be aware of this, most of the times when people wish to lose weight, it's usually a matter of self-confidence and self-image issues that a person does not like the way that they look when they have gained weight, because also excessive weight gain does change our appearance as well as our health. So for this reason, when people are searching for ways to return to a healthy body weight, they will usually go to different media and information sources. And unfortunately, we find now that there's a lot of conflicting information about how to lose weight. And there are all kinds of ideas running about online and in magazines and so on. So for that reason, as distributors, I emphasize that we need to be very careful before trying to overpromise people what this or that can do for them. What we need to do is to give them information that is going to help them in their unique position and to keep it as truthful as possible with the intention of benefiting them rather than simply getting them in a position where they buy a lot of products and then they get disappointed because we did not back it up with some knowledge that they require. So for that reason, my session will also be quite a bit about lifestyle information that would be good for you to share with your distributors and as well as your clients, and also to encourage you to look on the company website because there is further information as well as some videotapes that can inform you further. So one of the things that people are always interested in is finding out which is the best diet to help them to lose weight. And the best diet is the diet to which a person can adhere long term. So if you start a diet where you are eating a cabbage soup, is for sure that in a week or two, you will have given up on it and abandoned it. Because for one thing, it is not tasty, and for another, it is very low calorie. And although you might lose some weight, you are going to have a very unpleasant time. So the first thing to note is that it has to be something which can be adhered to long term. There are many different types of diets, and I would advise that a person should try a number of them and determine which one is working best for them. I don't really think it's a good idea to push one diet idea because no one diet works for everyone. So for example, you have a diet which mainly for some people works is where they reduce the amount of carbohydrates in their diet, because we know that carbohydrates tend to be very high calorie, and the extra calories will be converted into fat and stored in our body. So one thing we need to know is that it's not only fat that makes us fat. In fact, carbohydrates in some people can even be more fattening than anything else. So for some people, the diet that works is the reduction of the amount of carbohydrate they take in their overall diets. For some people, it's general reduction in the amount of food they eat. That is calorie restriction. This could be because they have a tendency to overeat. So by reducing and eating a restricted amount of food, they find that they are able to lose weight. For others, if they eliminate meat from their diet and start a vegetarian lifestyle or a mainly vegetarian lifestyle, they find that this helps them to lose weight. So it's an important thing to find the diet that is working best for you. The thing to keep in mind in that searching for the best option is that it has to be a healthy diet. It has to be one that addresses all those issues of health that we are always discussing in product training should be taken into account, because we don't only want to lose weight, we also want to retain our health. Okay. So the biggest problem most people find is not so much the losing of weight, it is the maintaining of the new weight. Because of course, as you are losing weight, you are very happy, but once you reach the weight you want, your weight goal, then there becomes the lifelong plan of keeping the weight down. And maybe like myself, it has happened to you, or you have come across people who have lost weight and after some time regained it all back. And that can be very discouraging. And that is why we emphasize that the whatever diet or lifestyle plan that we choose should be a healthy one, and it should be one that we can adhere to long term, because we don't only want to lose weight, we want to sustain the weight loss and maintain a healthy body weight. So I said initially that the body stores fat in different parts of itself. So the fatty tissues where the fat is stored will be in different parts. And I mentioned under the skin, I mentioned the hips, and I mentioned the waist and belly as well. But out of these three, the most dangerous fat that is associated with ill health and serious illness is the fat that is deposited around the waist, and the belly, because this is the area of our body which contains all the very essential organs like the heart, the liver, the kidney, and so on. So if a large amount of fat is deposited there, it is an indicator that our body is struggling with too much fat. And it's just a matter of time before various illnesses start attacking us. So just to say that although we would like to have slim hips and slim overall body, the most dangerous place that should warn us that we need to take immediate action is when we no longer have a waistline. So an easy way to measure this is the waist should be half the measure of the height. So for example, I'm 1.5 meters tall. So my waist should be half of that. As long as my waist measurement becomes greater than that, it means I'm starting to be in the danger zone. So that's an easy way of telling whether the fat deposits in our body is moving towards causing ill health, or it mainly looks unattractive. So for example, if I've got a very small waist and big hips, it is not so dangerous to my health as if I had no waist and slim hips, because the fact that the fat has been deposited in my waist is more dangerous for my health. Then which are the things that we have to eliminate altogether from our lifestyle and our diet in order to, if we are planning to have a healthy body weight? So there are a number of them, and these are not just for those who want to lose weight, it's overall for all of us that we should be careful of this. So we should look at these things as things which have got a warning label on them, like the ones you have on cigarettes or alcohol. So the first one is processed packaged foods. So foods that are already in packets and are bought already made, ready to eat. Here I'm talking about the things that are in packets like biscuits and all these things. So those ones are number one that we should either minimize or eliminate. The next one is highly refined grains. So the grain flours that we find already very white and in packets, those ones always have a detrimental effect on our healthy weight. Then the one which I'm always talking about is refined sugar. So refined sugar, that is the sugar that is in packets. This should be another one with a warning sign on it. I'm not here talking especially about sugar in fruits, because fruits are sweet, but remember that the sugar is also mixed with fiber. So it tends to be not as harmful. But if a person wants to lose weight, then the very sweet fruits like bananas and mangoes might be best left until a normal weight has been attained. Then the last one here is unhealthy fats, like the factory fats that we also often mention. These ones are also associated with excessive weight gain. So if we are talking about fried foods that are already bought in the restaurants and they're already fried and so on, like chips and things like that, these ones are normally made using these unhealthy fats, which will be detrimental to our health and also cause us to gain weight. So the next thing I wanted to speak about is our traditional diets, or the foods that we culturally have been eating in our tradition. These foods, especially in our African context, are often very healthy because they are minimally processed and they are quite filling. So the more we deviate from our ancestral foods, the harder it is for us to maintain a healthy weight. And for those of you who are my age or older, you'll remember that when we were growing up, fat people were very hard to find. And this is because we are still eating a diet that was closely aligned to our ancestral diet, and only a few very wealthy people could actually afford the Western food that is now becoming more and more common. So for that reason, as far as possible, we should incorporate our cultural foods and try to eat food that is minimally processed and maybe prepared from scratch in our homes, because then we know what is actually in the food. Because some of these foods which are prepared in advance, they have preservatives, they have colorants, they have other additives that are put in them to make them attractive. But those are sometimes the ones that make it hard for us to actually lose weight or maintain low weight, because our body might be reacting to them in a certain way. Since they are not food, they can actually be toxifying our bodies. So for that reason, one of the points to take in maintaining a healthy weight is to get in the habit of often cooking food at home, rather than eating food which has already been prepared in packets and packages and so on. So our ancestral foods are good for us because we have grown and evolved with them, and our bodies are able to handle them better. Many of them do not have any additives, and many of them are high in nutrients. And so it's always a good thing to keep them close to us and incorporate them in our day-to-day diets. Then the next thing, how can we maintain a healthy weight? So to maintain a healthy weight requires that we look on the whole process as a lifestyle change, not a temporary change that we are putting in place, but a lifestyle change, a way in which we are going to live for the rest of our lives. The reason for this is that the habits that make us fat, if we eliminate them and then return to them, we are going to get fat again. Because it's not that the fat will never come back once we lose it. Unfortunately, if we go back to those habits, we will become fat again. And so we have to always keep in mind that whatever we do to lose weight should be something that we are going to be able to sustain for the majority of our life. Then, so what are the points that I wanted to bring to you that will actually help us in this area? The first one is to eliminate all food which has been established as unhealthy, to remove them from our diet or to minimize them completely, so that there may be something we take once or twice a year on special occasions, like maybe Christmas or our birthday or some family celebration, but not regular or daily intake. Because some of these are not problematic when taken once in a while. They're only problematic when they are taken on a regular basis. The next point is to eliminate unhealthy habits. We have spoken about this quite frequently, but I'll just run over some of the points again. The habit of eating unhealthy foods frequently, that is number one, which we've already mentioned. Then the habit of eating late at night. Let us say you have been working late, it's maybe 11 o'clock, and you decide, okay, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. Remember that if we are eating a large, big piece of ugali or pap and meat at 11 o'clock, we are soon going to go to bed, which means that all that bulk of food is going to be digested and stored as fat. So it's best to not eat a large meal late at night. It's better to eliminate that habit if we have it. Then the third unhealthy habit is snacking and eating around the clock. So sometimes some people recommend this thing of that you eat every 1 or 2 hours, you eat something. But unfortunately, this is not at all a good idea, because each time we eat, insulin is produced in our system. And whatever we don't use from that meal is going to be stored as fat. So it's better to do what we used to do long ago, which is to eat at specific times, specific meals. So if, let us say, you are a person who is able to have 3 meals a day, you have your breakfast, lunch, and supper, you only eat at those times, and maybe you can only have 1 or 2 healthy snacks if you are actually hungry. But if on the other hand, you're a person who eats just 2 meals, maybe it's breakfast and supper, then we eat during those times. For small children and people who are ill or elderly, this might not be a good idea because they might need to eat in between the meals. But as a whole, the thing that we were taught ourselves as when we were young is that do not eat between meals. That is still a good habit, because then we give our body time to actually go to the fat deposits, take out that fat and use it. If we are eating all the time, then it's as if we have got a cup which is almost full and we keep on adding to it. Then the cup will never be empty because we keep on adding calories into it. So rather make the habit of selecting the reasonable number of times to eat, your meal times, and keep eating during those times. And during the rest of the time, of course, if you are a bit hungry, your body knows how to deal with that. That is why the body stores fat, because when you're hungry, then your body will listen. If it sees that you're not getting food, it will go to the fat deposits and release some of the fats to burn for energy. And that is why, if let us say you are not able to eat at lunchtime, by 3 o'clock you are no longer hungry. That is because your body has been able to release fats because there is no food coming in. It goes to the fat storage, it takes it out. It's like when you have got food in the fridge and food in the freezer. If the food is finished in the fridge, you can always go to the freezer and get out the food which is stored there for long-term storage. So our fat deposits is like the freezer. We can go to them, to the fatty tissue and bring out the fat and burn it for energy. So then another bad habit that we need to eliminate is a sedentary lifestyle. We evolved to move, and therefore we must incorporate movement in our day-to-day life. It helps us to burn the extra fat, and it also helps us to have less the tendency of eating or wanting to eat all the time. So movement is very important. About 20 minutes worth of walking, or 15,000 steps, I think, is what is recommended every day for the average person. Then another point I wanted to bring up is to also look at the reasons for eating. The only reason we should eat is because we are hungry. If we notice that we are eating because we are anxious or because we are worried, then it's a warning to us that we are eating for the wrong reason. And if we are eating in order to deal with worry or anxiety, then we'll continue eating and eating, because the eating itself is not going to solve anything. The problem will still be there. So rather to deal with the source of the problem than to try to eat to make ourselves feel better. Then the next point is about craving. Sometimes when you are trying to lose weight, you may start craving some foods. It might be you may crave sweets, or you may crave salty food or something like that. It is important to check what it is that you are craving, and then eat a healthy equivalent of the thing that you are longing to eat. So for example, if you are craving something sweet, then rather than eating a packet of sweets, it's better to eat a fruit, because it will help with the wish to have something sweet, but at the same time, it is a healthy option. Then I see my time is running low, so let me quickly go to the products that we recommend. Remember, these products help as a bridge to help us to get from where we are to where we want to be without any problem. So the first one is Pro-Vitality. The Pro-Vitality is to make sure that we do not suffer from the lack of any nutrients when we start reducing the amount of food that we are eating. So Pro-Vitality is essential for that. The next one is Neolife Shake or Nutri-Shake, depending on what is in your market. This one can be used to replace your breakfast or your lunch. It can be used to replace a meal, and it ensures that we've got good quality proteins as well as other nutrients, and it makes a healthy meal. You can mix it with water. You can mix it with milk, if that is something that you like. And then the other products that we recommend in the weight management is multimineral alfalfa, to make sure that we don't suffer from dizziness or feelings of weakness when we start, for example, reducing the amount of calories that we are taking. Because sometimes as we lose weight, we start also losing some minerals and so on, and it might make us feel a bit dizzy or weak and so on. So multimineral alfalfa, very good there. Then the other one is Neolife tea, which helps us to boost our energy level and keep us from feeling tired and worn out. And in boosting our energy level, it also ignites our body towards fat burning. So it has a thermogenic effect. So the Neolife tea will also play an important role. Also, if you have it in your market, amytone is a useful one because the amino acids in amytone helps to avoid the loss of muscles. And finally, if you tend to eat large portions of food, something that can help is the fiber tablets or multi-fiber blend. This one, if taken just before a meal with water, is going the fiber and the water mix and expand and help you to eat less than you ordinarily would. So I know I've rushed through a lot of the information because the topic of weight loss is quite broad and has got many points. But I hope that the information that I've given you is at least enough for you to go and build on with educating yourself further. But just to emphasize that it's important to tell ourselves and our clients that we need to make a lifestyle change rather than to just jump on the latest, most popular diet. And then after that, we get disappointed because we give up and all the weight comes back and we even get more weight than we had before. And then we say the products don't work. The products work to help us in changing our lifestyle. They don't work against our lifestyle. If we are still maintaining the same bad habits, the products are not going to oppose the lifestyle habits. So let us use the products as a bridge to help us to get to the lifestyle that we want. I want to thank you very much before I hand you over to Pascal and to wish you an excellent month end, because I know that we are at that time when we are going through the month end. I wish you all the best. I hope that your goals are going to be achieved. And so here is Pascal ready with his session for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Betty. And now that we've learned how to manage our weight, let us learn now how to make more money so that we can enjoy the money that we make. Two sessions I would like to share with you this evening. One is called How to Use the System. I think that most people who've been in this business for quite a while, you've heard the word system. That is a means we use to build our business so that even if we're not in the place where our business is growing, we have no worries. So if you will allow me to share the screen with you. Okay. What is a business system? I want to discuss with you what a business system is. And before I do that, I would like you to look back and see some of the most successful companies around the world who have become, their business grows with or without the owners of the business. Look at a company like Safaricom. You will notice that they open customer service centers in various places. And these customer service centers, they serve you and they attend to your needs in exactly the same way as each other branch. The banks do the same. Very successful company, all have a system. But in our business, what is a system? A system is a series of procedures, tools, equipment, and events that we use to build our business. That's what a system is. A system helps our business to grow even without our presence. And a very important thing to note about our business, you can never build this business on your own. You always need a team to help your business to grow. That is why the acronym for team stands for Together Everyone Achieves More. What is a system? How does our business system work? Or how does it help us to build a business? The system has the following elements. First, it begins with you. your natural enthusiasm for the business. This is what attracts people to you. Remember that you attract the people, the kind of people that you are. If you are hardworking, you will tend to attract hardworking people. If you like giving excuses, you'll attract that kind of people. If you don't like to work, you'll attract that kind of people, because birds of the same feather flock together. So the first thing about our business system is our personal enthusiasm. You know, when I joined the business, every meeting I went to, every meeting without exception, everybody was very excited. Everybody used very excited words, and this excitement became contagious. Why is that the case? Because this business is designed to bring out the best in us. Okay? So the first thing about our business system is personal enthusiasm. The next are the tools that we use to build our business. These are videos, CDs, magazines. One of the things that I do quite a bit is when I'm traveling, I always have at least 4 to 6 lifestyle magazines with me, because I may start a conversation with somebody in the bus, in the plane, or whatever I'm traveling to. And when they ask what I am doing, I said, look, I'm running a business. Please go and read this magazine. I'll give you a call tomorrow. That is all I do. I rarely explain the business to somebody I've met for the first time. Why is that? Because I want to get to know the person. I want to get to know the person, to know that they have similar values or similar goals or similar dreams like I do. Okay? So the second thing about our business system are the tools we use to build the business. Why are these important? They're called third-party tools. These are important because the videos are professionally prepared, the CDs, the magazines are very nicely done, so that you give quality stuff to your prospects. The third element about our business system is weekly business opportunity presentations. These are presentations done in various parts of the country, various parts of different countries, where a trained person, an experienced leader, presents the business on your behalf as a distributor. When we started the business here, before you went and presented the business presentation, you had to go through speaker training, actually go for assessment, and when you finish the speaker training, you'll get a certificate. Only after that would you be allowed by the Eagleton system to do a presentation. Okay? And the reason for that is we always want to give a professional outlook to how our business is done. So the weekly business opportunity presentations is a showcase of our business. So if you're a new distributor or you're old in the business, the easiest way for you to grow your business is to learn to invite people for these business opportunity presentations. In my I think it's quite simple the way you do it. Is telling your prospects, look, I've started a business. There's somebody who is more experienced than myself. I would like you to come and have a look. That's all you need to say. They give them the time, the venue, and the date. If it's a physical meeting, it is always best to go and pick up your prospect and come with your prospect to the meeting. If it's a Zoom presentation, send them the link. Okay, so the third element about our business system is weekly business opportunity presentation. The fourth one is a weekly training events, like for example, this one. This is a weekly training event that it's a forum for us to learn how to build our business. Product training, business training, leadership training. Always those three aspects are designed to help you to become a good leader in the business. So make sure you carve out time or you put time aside for weekly training events. The fifth element about our business system is the monthly recognition rally. Why is this important? Because one of the greatest human needs is recognition. Okay? Why is that important? Because we have a very deep-seated need to be recognized for who you are, because we are human. We want to be recognized as human beings, as contributing something useful to society or to our business. So the monthly recognition rally is very, very key to our growth of our business. The sixth element about our business system is the annual convention, and the Neolife annual convention in different regions. In South Africa, we had ours in August. In East Africa, they had the one at I think on the 31st of October. West Africa, I'm not sure of the dates. So the Neolife annual conventions are events that showcase our business, and these are some of the events where people actually make decisions. I remember our first big rally that we attended was the annual Eagle Team Weekend Rally, where the weekend would start on Friday evening and end on Sunday morning. In that meeting, I saw 4,000 people, people going to stage, people from different backgrounds, people who are, I remember one of our team leaders had just become a 3Ruby director, and he was earning very good income, and he went on stage. And when I saw that, I made a commitment, in the next rally, I'm going to be on stage. Okay? So the events are very important because they create an atmosphere or a platform where people make decisions to commit themselves to the business. Annual team weekend rallies, and then team incentives. Team incentives are incentives organized by each different team leaders specifically for their growing group. Why is that important? Neolife has got its own incentives, but you as a team leader, you need to have small incentives that work hand in hand with the Neolife's incentives. This gives boost to your team because when you do those small things, you find that your business tends to grow faster. Okay? Now, apart from this, apart from the business systems that we use to build our business, always have the 4 basics in mind. The 4 basics is actually what creates growth in your business. Your name list, learn to invite people, learn to show the plan, learn to do a follow-up. Then daily reading and listening to CDs, using and retailing products. These are the personal actions that nobody can do for you. You have to do these things yourself. And if you do them consistently, you will find that your business will grow. You know, earlier I said that one of the events I made a commitment to build the business was the weekend event or the Eagle Team Weekend Rally. That's when I made a decision to build the business. And that leads me to the next item. And the next item is motivation and discipline. When I went to this rally, I got so motivated, but for our business to grow, I had to turn that motivation into discipline. I'm sure that you've heard that you need to be motivated in this business to succeed. That is true. But more than that, you need discipline to succeed. Motivation comes from the word motive, which means meaning. Excuse me. You need to have a reason why you are doing the business. What is the motive? What is the reason why you do what you do? Discipline, the word discipline comes from the word disciple, which means a learner, somebody who is learning. And learning comes from repetition. So those two words, motivation comes from motive, discipline comes from the disciple, which means a learner, somebody who is learning. Now, motivation, because motivation comes from motive, which means meaning or the reason for doing something, it's more intellectual or more intellect. Discipline comes from habit, from our will. So motivation gives you the initial spark. Discipline is what keeps you on the path to success. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is habitual, which means that If you do something over and over and over again, it becomes a habit. For example, driving a car. I remember the first time I tried to drive a car, I panicked so much. Instead of stepping on the brake, I stepped on the accelerator, and the vehicle moved so fast until I panicked. The person who was next to me had to help me stop the vehicle. Okay? Why? Because driving had not become a discipline. It had not become a habit. So motivation is temporary, discipline is habitual. Motivation is driven by feelings, while discipline comes from the will. The will is where it has to be because it becomes a habit that we have every single day. Now, how do you create discipline in your life? First step, you need to have clear goals in your life. Okay? You need to have goals of the things you want to achieve: financial, physical, mental, family, business. You need to have specific goals in your life that you work towards. Now, these goals, you need to make a plan for daily activity. So write your goals, have a daily plan of what you want to do in each of those areas. The other thing you need to do once you've planned is you need to do what you need to do irrespective of how you are feeling. It took me quite a long time to be able to grasp this and actually make it part of my daily living. So you need to do what you need to do irrespective of how you feel. And one of the things that I found that really helps in discipline is physical exercises. You know, when you see sport or when you come for a meeting or you go for an event, you say, okay, I'm making a commitment to start exercising regularly. You exercise for 3-4 days. The 5th day, your body starts complaining. Your body starts saying, okay, we're a bit tired, let's take a break today. Or you start feeling some stress in your body. The neurons are firing, telling you to stop. The exercise is becoming difficult. This is the point where you need to go into self-talk. Have a very good self-talk with yourself. What I found very useful for me is, for example, when you wake up, let me say you've decided to wake up at 5:30 to go and exercise. Either your alarm bell goes off or you wake up naturally at 5:30. The temptation is to sleep for another 5 minutes, which becomes 10 minutes, which becomes half an hour. After half an hour, you're still in bed. That's the time you need to talk to yourself and ask yourself questions. Okay, you don't want to get up, you feel tired, fine. The next day, you're going to tell me the same thing. And the next day, after 3 days, you haven't started exercising. So you need to have a talk with yourself, and you will find that if you talk to yourself that way, that voice that discourages you from going to exercise become weaker. Okay? And then you also need to picture yourself after you complete the activity that you want to do. For example, if you want to exercise for 45 minutes, you need to picture yourself how you will feel after you do the exercise, not how you're going to feel when you're exercising, because how you're going to feel out when you're exercising is pain. But you need to picture yourself how you'll feel when you have actually exercised. That is what will push you through the wall of pain. Okay? Do not look at what you're going through, look at where you're going to. If you have this in mind, you will find that you will always overcome your resistance to exercise. You will always overcome your resistance to speak to a prospect. You will always overcome your resistance to prepare for your meetings, to speak to prospects, to have a disciplined life. So discipline comes from the will, and it requires you to talk to yourself in a sense that you need to silence the voice in your mind that always discourages you from doing what you need to do. You know, I was listening to Lisa Nichols the other day, and she said that your mind is always there to protect you. What does that mean? Your mind always protects you from pain. So when you start exercising, your mind will create for you reasons why you need to stop exercising. So always be aware of that. Your mind will always look for the line of least resistance. And if you learn how to manage your thinking process, you will overcome your resistance to doing what you need to do. So if you follow those simple suggestions, if you learn how to discipline yourself, if you learn to know the difference between motivation and discipline, discipline keeps you on the path to success. Motivation starts you on the road to success. If you follow those simple rules, you will find that discipline increases your own self-esteem. The more disciplined you are, the better you feel about yourself, and you're going to be more successful. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are the few ideas I wanted to share with you: how to use a system for your success, and how to maintain, first how to generate and then maintain discipline so that you can become a success in this business. So, Paul, I'd like to hand over back to you to close our meeting. I want to thank you all very much. I don't know which town Alice Munyenze is. I don't know whether she's in Nairobi or wherever she is. I think Paul Alice deserves aloe vera plus because she has been taking notes. I was watching when Betty was speaking, she was taking notes. When I was speaking, she was also taking notes. So I think she deserves a bottle of aloe vera. Alice, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pascal. That is very well noted. Alice is in Nairobi, and definitely I'll be able to make sure that she gets a bottle of aloe vera. She's a downline and Lydia Mwesa, one of the new directors for this year. So you can see when you listen and take notes, you step up to director. All right. So thank you so much, Alice, and everyone who is on the call for being with us tonight. Betty and Pascal, we cannot thank you enough for sharing, some of the secrets of success in terms of how to share the products and also how to share the business. And I believe that is the best way to train from a very good, perspective, and also from a wide range of experience of over 25 years in this business. So we really appreciate your input, your training. It has really helped our distributors to continue to position this business. So we have come to the end of our training today. I just want to remind our distributors, first day month end is on the 30th of November, and the second day is on the 1st. So we need to continue to push ourselves so that we can be able to achieve our goals. And we have some of our events which are coming up. On the 4th of December, we have our end of the year rally at Nairobi KICC. And then on the 12th of December, we have our end of the year rally in Uganda. It's going to be at Imperial Royal, that is Kampala. And on the 19th of December, that is towards Christmas, we are going to have our end of the year rally in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and it's going to be at Mtana Hall. So you need to start preparing so that we can be able to invite some guests as we come and celebrate the success that we have been able to achieve in the entire year. So we're looking forward to those kind of events. This coming Sunday, we have our qualified director event in Dar es Salaam. It's going to be at Serena Hotel. And we are looking forward to having fun with all the directors who have been able to qualify to attend that event. So these are amazing events that the company put together. We just finished Nairobi. It was at Movenpick Hotel. Kampala, it was at Sheraton Hotel. And I can tell you, we learned a lot and we had a lot of fun. So whenever you hear there's a qualified to attend event, it's a special event for you. Don't miss for anything. Work for it and make sure you can be able to qualify and be part of that exciting team. So from me, Pascal and Betty, we want to thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful evening. See you tomorrow. We are going to have our Swahili session, same time. So if you know somebody who can be able to understand some Swahili, invite them as a guest. And also make sure your distributors come in so that we can be able to have an amazing time. So from us, thank you so much. Good night and God bless you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Pascal. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.